Detecting a covert narcissist in just 60 seconds. You've just met someone new. They seem charming, a bit shy, and they're a fantastic listener. You feel an instant connection. But then, within a minute of you sharing a small success or a personal thought, the entire conversation pivots. Suddenly you find yourself comforting them about some past injustice or a current struggle they're facing. The focus has shifted so subtly, so smoothly, that you barely notice it happened. If this sounds painfully familiar, you might have just encountered a covert narcissist. They are masters of quiet manipulation, flying under the radar with a victim-like persona that is incredibly difficult to spot. The promise. Unlike the loud, arrogant narcissists who are easy to identify, covert narcissists wear a mask of humility and sensitivity. They draw you in not with grandiosity, but with a quiet vulnerability that makes you want to help, to soothe. And this is what makes them so dangerously effective. You leave conversations feeling confused, drained, or even a little guilty without knowing exactly why. You start to second-guess yourself, replaying their words, trying to pinpoint what feels so off. You're not imagining things. That feeling is your internal alarm system, and today we're going to teach you how to listen to it. Now, can you really unmask a narcissist in 60 seconds? While a true understanding requires seeing a pattern over time, these clues are your rapid-fire warning signs. Think of this as a first impression detector. By the end of this video, you'll be equipped to recognize the game before you even become a player. The 6 clues. Let's get into the first and most powerful clue. Clue 1, the sympathy switch. This is the covert narcissist's signature move, and it's shockingly fast. You're having a normal conversation and you share something about yourself. It could be good news, like a promotion, or a minor frustration, like a tough day. A normal response would be, "Congratulations," or "Ugh, that sounds rough." But the covert narcissist does something different. They pull what I call the sympathy switch. Your experience becomes a trigger for their own tale of woe. For example, you say, "I'm so excited I finally booked my vacation." They won't share your joy. Instead, they'll sigh and say, "That's nice. I wish I could take a vacation. I've been through so much lately, and work is a complete nightmare." See what happened? The spotlight instantly swiveled from you to them. Their story is always more tragic, their burden heavier. They use their supposed vulnerability as a weapon to hook your empathy and make the conversation orbit entirely around their misfortunes. It's not a genuine sharing of experience. It's a calculated play for sympathy and attention. If you find you've gone from sharing your life to counseling them within the first minute, that is a massive red flag. Clue 2, the subtle undermine. The second clue is a bit more insidious, the passive-aggressive comment or backhanded compliment. These remarks are designed to make you feel small while giving the narcissist plausible deniability. They often disguise them as jokes or faux concern. Let's say you share an idea you're proud of. The covert narcissist might smile and say, "Wow, I'm just so impressed you managed to come up with that." The words sound positive, but the tone leaves a bitter aftertaste, implying surprise that you, of all people, could do something intelligent. Another example, you show up to an event feeling great. They might look you over and say, "That's a very bold choice. I could never pull that off." On the surface, it sounds self-deprecating, but the real message is a dig at your taste. And this is a strategy to undermine your confidence and elevate themselves without being openly cruel. It creates unease and self-doubt. If you were to challenge them, they'd likely act innocent and wounded, saying, "What? I was just giving you a compliment. Why are you so sensitive?" This is how they control the narrative and make you question your own perceptions. Clue 3. The conversational hijack. Ever feel like you're talking at someone, not with them? That brings us to our third clue: a complete lack of genuine interest in you. Conversations with a covert narcissist aren't a two-way street, they're a one-way monologue waiting for a stage. You can test this easily. Share a brief personal experience, watch their reaction. An empathetic person will ask follow-up questions. They'll show curiosity. The covert narcissist, on the other hand, might just wait for you to take a breath before immediately redirecting the conversation back to themselves. The most common form of this is the "that's nothing" maneuver. You might say, "I had such a stressful day, my boss was really demanding." Before you can elaborate, they'll jump in with, "That's nothing. Let me tell you about my day. You think your boss is bad? My boss is an actual tyrant." Their goal is to prove that their experiences, their pain, and their life are more significant than yours. They don't listen to understand, they listen for an opportunity to speak. Every topic is a launchpad back to their favorite subject, themselves. They are black holes of attention, and if you walk away from a 60-second interaction feeling completely unheard, it's because you were. Before we move on, take a second. Has someone in your life consistently shown these first three behaviors? If a name or face comes to mind, feel free to share your experience in the comments below. No real names, of course. Sharing our stories is a powerful way to validate one another and realize we aren't alone in this. Clue 4. The fragile wall of defensiveness. The fourth clue reveals itself the moment you fail to give them the perfect narcissistic supply they crave. Covert narcissists are extremely sensitive to anything they perceive as criticism. Their ego is so fragile that even a mild disagreement can feel like a full-blown personal attack. Let's say the person is complaining about how no one helps them. Instead of just offering sympathy, you offer a gentle, practical suggestion. You might say, "That sounds really tough. Have you considered talking to HR?" To a healthy person, this is a sign of care. To a covert narcissist, it's a criticism. You didn't just wallow in their victimhood with them, you implied they could solve their own problem. Their reaction will be swift and chilling. They might go quiet, giving you the silent treatment, or offer a cold, one-word answer. They may get defensive, saying something like, "You just don't get it. It's not that simple." They don't want solutions. They want an audience for their suffering. By not playing your assigned role, you've criticized their narrative. You will feel the temperature in the room drop instantly. This hypersensitivity is a key trait. If you feel like you have to walk on eggshells to avoid a negative reaction, you are likely dealing with the fragile ego of a covert narcissist. Clue 5. The master of evasion. Covert narcissists are masters of avoiding accountability, and they do it by never giving a straight answer. This is our fifth clue. Ask a covert narcissist a direct question and watch what happens. For instance, you ask something simple like, "Did you finish that report you said you'd do?" Instead of yes or no, you'll get deflection. They might turn it back on you. "Why are you always checking up on me? Don't you trust me?" Suddenly, you're on trial. You're not discussing the report anymore. You're defending your reasons for asking. It's a classic tactic to shift focus and evade responsibility. Another form of evasion is deliberate vagueness. You ask, "Where were you last night?" They might respond with something philosophical like, "I was just out clearing my head. You know how things are." The answer tells you nothing, but it's delivered with a world-weary sigh that invites pity rather than a real answer. If a simple conversation feels like a verbal chess match where you can never pin them down, it's because they are actively avoiding being held accountable. Clue 6. The misunderstood genius complex. Our final clue is that subtle but persistent air of superiority, often masked as sensitivity or depth. While an overt narcissist will tell you they're a genius, a covert narcissist will lament that they are a misunderstood genius. You'll hear them say things like, "I just feel things more deeply than other people," or "Most people are so shallow, they just don't understand me." This isn't a genuine feeling of isolation. It's a quiet declaration of superiority. They are framing themselves as uniquely special and too complex for the average person. They often present themselves as the perpetual victim of an unappreciative world. They might talk about how their talents are overlooked or how life has treated them unfairly. For example, "I would have been a successful artist, but I had to sacrifice my dreams for my family, and no one ever acknowledges it." The underlying message is one of entitlement. They believe they deserve special recognition and are bitter that the world has failed to provide it. This poor me attitude, combined with a condescending view of others, is a toxic cocktail. They don't just see themselves as introverted, they harbor a secret grandiosity and contempt for those they deem less deep than themselves. So let's recap the 6 clues. The sympathy switch, the subtle undermine, the conversational hijack, the fragile wall of defensiveness, the master of evasion, and the misunderstood genius complex. Recognizing these behaviors isn't about labeling someone on the spot, it's about empowerment. It's about trusting that feeling in your gut that tells you something is off. These clues are your early warning system, allowing you to protect your energy before you're drawn into a draining, manipulative dynamic. You have every right to walk away from conversations that leave you feeling diminished, confused, or exhausted. You are not too sensitive for noticing these things, and you are not responsible for fixing the person who shows them. Your only responsibility is to protect your own peace. If this video resonated with you, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. We talk all about navigating difficult relationships and reclaiming your self-worth. And because spotting the signs is only the first step, I highly recommend you watch this next video on what to do after you've identified a narcissist. It will give you the practical tools you need to set boundaries and disengage safely. Thank you for watching, and remember to always trust your intuition.